Hey Craig, I have another question for you.
Sure.
Well,
What's on your mind?
this question is about the major chakras in our body, in all of our bodies. I've heard a whole bunch of terms describing our chakras and what to do with them, and some of the terms are like waking them up, opening them up, healing them, balancing them. Um, what What do they mean? What is this pointing? What are all these descriptions and adjectives of what you're supposed to do? What are they pointing to? And the second part of my question is, what is the most useful way to work with the chakras in our body for non-dual awakening?
Yeah. Wow, that's a great question. I don't think anyone's ever asked me that question in that way. And so, oftentimes when I look at the chakra centers, we have to look at, when we're studying them, from what level, from what realm of existence are we studying the chakra centers? So a lot of people teach about the chakra centers, like this chakra center is red, this one is green, this one's yellow. And to me, it's like, okay, that's great. Who actually cares? What color it is, and then different people will say, oh, I have an issue in my throat chakra or this or that. And so, the chakra center, basically it's a level of being within us. It's literally a mind within us. So each of the 7 chakra centers has its own mind. And if you look at what is this experience of being human and divine and animal like? We're always asking this questions like, what does it mean to be human? What does it mean to be divine in this world? So we're given this subtle energetic body, which has the 7 chakra centers. And those are your chakras. They belong to you. They're like literally part of your soul nature. And so as we incarnate into this world, we can relate to ourselves in an animal way, like sexuality, sometimes anger, sometimes, food cravings, this type of thing, really animal and like physical drives within us. And so our mind can run at strictly an animal, instinctual level. It can, as we grow out of that, we grow into this human level of being, where we're more mentally focused, where we're more emotionally focused, we're more thoughtful of who and what we are and how we are responding to life. And so with each of the 7 chakra centers, we can relate to it on an animal level, on a human level, or on a divine level. And so a lot of people are teaching about the chakra centers. Like you might go to your local yoga class and hear this thing about balancing and opening and feeling or spinning the chakra centers and this and that. And so the great question is, well, how is the teacher teaching about that? The author of the book that I'm reading, from what perspective are they writing from? Are they writing from? Carolyn Mace, the great medical intuitive, she's probably the greatest intuitive on the planet. She writes these wonderful books called Energy Anatomy, and she writes so much about this interaction of our past, our history, our conditioning, our wound, and our chakra centers. And so she's very much writing and teaching about how that chakra center relates to our humanity and our emotional nature. She talks about the wounds within each of the chakra centers, and then how to heal the wounds. Then she talks about corresponding diseases and sicknesses that go with different chakra centers. For example, when someone has intense anger issues and they don't work that out, anger issues tend to be in the solar plexus or the lower belly. If we don't work it out, normally we end up with some form of cancer. Cancer tends to manifest itself in people who have unresolved anger issues. If you look at unresolved anger, it's like a festering energy. And then it begins to manifest, in the form of cancer, which is a festering energy. And so, these are very real things. There's a funny thing. There was this great study done once, and they found there's some people who were smokers their whole life, and they didn't get, lung cancer. They didn't get any kind of cancer. They just like smoked until they died. They lived, pretty healthy lives. They looked at, well, how were those people wired in their chakra centers? Okay, they didn't have anger, and they had this intense feeling of empowerment. So they felt their truth, they spoke their truth, they lived with an open-heartedness, a sense of forgiveness. And so their chakras were very clear and open. They didn't have all these blockages and junk in their chakra centers. And then they lived to be quite old and died of natural causes, not from cancer. And they thought, oh, there's something to be said here. And there's something to be said here. And so much of the work that I do with people is, when I'm working with an individual, I'll look at them, and I'll kind of scan their 7 chakra centers, and I'll just notice the places where they're tight, where there's tense, where there's, in a sense, if we use a real spiritual term here, where there's karma. Where there's karma. Like I can say in my own life, I came into this world and I had issues of unworthiness. I had this feeling of being a victim. I didn't have my voice. And so I had, this feeling, of clenching in my throat. I was the kid with all this phlegm and all this throat chakra issues. I was always on medication as a kid because, I just had all this congestion here in my throat chakra. And, after doing tremendous amount of healing work in the throat area and then the corresponding wound of the heart and the belly, then those chakra centers could be open and there could be this flow of energy. The chakra centers could start operating in a divine way where they're connected with truth, connected with my highest nature. And from that, then they could become manifestations of this movement of divinity instead of a manifestation or a reflection of the pain that's in those centers. And so I said a lot of different things there, but the big thing that we want to look at with an individual is, from what place are we relating to our chakra centers? It'd be nice if we could just go to the, our local healer and have our chakras balanced and then everything be running perfectly and we're all of a sudden enlightened. It normally doesn't work that way here on planet Earth. On planet Earth, it's an evolutionary world. And so we have to go through those developmental steps. If we have, serious issues, around sexuality, if we're looking out, at someone we're attracted to and we're just having these, animal visions of, sleeping with them and, these really aggressive ways or someone's like, okay, yeah, I'm probably relating to my first chakra center, in an animal way. Can I have a healthier relationship with sex where I'm not going out just to the bar and I'm looking for the next person I want to sleep with? Can I work with that chakra center? Can I help it, to evolve? Can I start to respect myself and move more into my humanity? Can I mature, out of that teenage, mindset and come into a more healthy and human relationship with sexuality where we see it, it transforms into this world of relationship and there's a happiness and joy and coming together in union, and then, take that up a step, and I think we spoke about this last time, is, with this, the first chakra, it's wanting to connect to God in all of life here in our practical everyday reality. Can I connect to God through my, through my community, through my Sangha, through my friends and family and relationships? And can I see this? Can I see this, all of these relationships, all of life as divine? Can I give myself permission to fall into union and to see all of life as divine? And so we can go through all the different chakra centers and we can look at this. Well, what would need to change? Where do I need to grow up? Where do I need to mature? Say in my heart, in my throat, in my third eye. Sometimes in the third eye, people get, overwhelmed with thoughts or confusion or too many ideas, too many philosophies, too much dogma. That's a very human way to get stuck in the chakra center. When you let go of that and step into the divine experience of the third eye, you feel spaciousness, vastness, emptiness, and also pure intelligence, where it's like intelligence is just moving through you, and the voice of God is moving through you, in you, as you. And so, I kind of said a lot there, and so I don't know if that was helpful or made it more confusing.
No, it's not. It's not that much more confusing. It's just not as clean and simple as I'd hoped it to be. But I can see how it leads into all of your teachings on healing. But what's really important, and correct me if I'm wrong, is looking at each chakra center. Like, I have a book about them, so I could look at each one and kind of feel how I'm relating to it, and then take it from there.
Yeah, well, absolutely. If you sit in meditation and just from this place of awareness, what you'll notice is that each of the chakra centers are talking to us in every moment. And so sometimes they speak to us just in this vastness, in this peace, or in this groundedness, in this rootedness. Like if I feel into my first chakra right now, it just feels quiet, it feels rooted, feels grounded. There's no issues there. And so it just feels simple. And so, when you sit in meditation, you notice that it's like, okay, that's good. That's good. But when you feel into your heart, you may feel something different. You may be like, oh, there's this pain here. It feels like there's a brick or a rock in my heart. There's this tension. There's this gripping. A lot of people have a gripping in their, their hara center. Just like this intense gripping. And if we feel into it, so you sit in meditation and just kind of scan your chakra centers. You notice what feels off. Where is there tension? Where is there tightness? Is there heaviness? Is there tremendous anxiety in my heart center? It's not difficult to find this. If any of us are honest, if we are at all awake and aware of what's happening within us, because we live in an evolutionary world, we normally have something we can work with. And then the question becomes, well, how do I work with it? How do I work with it? Well, the first thing is through awareness. You're just noticing, like, what's happening within me? Am I open? Do I feel good? Is there racing thoughts going on in my consciousness, or repetitive thoughts, or OCD thoughts? When I look at my life, are there these strange addictions and addictive behaviors that I have? Is there some, heaviness? Any time I think about this old boyfriend or old girlfriend or ex-wife or husband or child or whatever it is. And so we see it from awareness, but seeing it from awareness, that just brings it into our view. That doesn't actually heal. So then the question is can I take a deep breath, connect with the innocence and the compassion of my heart? And can I meet whatever it is that I'm struggling with love? With love. And so if you don't do this, that pain that you carry around, that karma, will be an obstacle to abiding awakening. A lot of people can wake up and have lots of karma still in their system, lots of pain from the past and confusion. But what they find is that their awakening doesn't stabilize. It doesn't stabilize because God is telling us, hey, there's something more important. There's something more important that you need to look at before you can rest in your Buddha nature. I'm not going to let you rest. I'm going to give you these thoughts again and again and remind you that there's pain here. And so that's how life works. That's how evolution works. We can't stabilize, at this level until we've taken care of the levels below it. And because everything is interconnected and everything is interrelated, you cannot spiritually bypass. You can do it temporarily, which is what a lot of people are doing in the non-dual community. They go visit Eckhart Tolle, they have this incredible awakening, boom, they think, I live in the now. But then they go home after the retreat, and they find, their teenage son's a heroin addict and is not going to let them off the hook. We have to go to family therapy with our kid in rehab, whatever it is. We have to do our work. Or we see our child suffering and we're like, oh, I'd like to ignore this, but they're my child. I cannot. I can't pull that off. I can't just be in the now and act like there's no problem here. So then the question is, can I see what's within me? Can I see this pain? Can I meet it with love? Can I clean up my relationship with my friends and family, my son and daughter? Sometimes our kids are doing drugs because they want our attention, because they're rebelling against us because we're so strict at home, because we're so tight in our consciousness. And see, all of life is talking to us. And so when we are awake and aware, we notice my 7 chakras centers are talking to us. There's a reflection of that in my life. When your heart chakra is open and it's healed, there's not tremendous gaping wound there. Your relationships tend to be pretty solid. Tend to have healthy boundaries, tend to feel pretty good in the world. Doesn't mean everything's perfect, but there's this sense of just clarity in yourself, in your consciousness, that tends to reflect itself in life. So these 7 chakra centers, they have this reflected and mirror-like quality of what's actually happening in the world. And they also have a reflective quality of what's happening in our soul. Is my soul, does it feel clear? Does my consciousness feel clear? Does it feel loving? Do I feel compassionate? Are all 7 chakra centers open and moving from a place of space and peace and wisdom and love and strength and truth? Or is only one of them open and I'm trying just to be in that one center? These are great questions to work with on the path.
I can see where we'll have more questions sprouting from that, but thank you so much, Greg. I can see that the terms about the chakras, waking up, opening, balancing, that kind of it's irrelevant. We're feeling.
Yeah. The big thing with the chakra centers is, just to be quiet, to go inward, and just feel what's there and be honest about what's there. What I've noticed is that so many people, they practice meditation in a way where they're trying to escape to some other world. But within us are these divine worlds. And so the 7 chakra centers are also like 7 heaven worlds. 7 heaven worlds within us. And so if you feel into like the crown chakra, there's this sense of heaven, this intense brilliance. We can open into that center and rest there. In the third eye, it's a little bit more grounded than this heavenly place. Just slightly more grounded, but it's empty, it's vast, it's free. There can be this realm of intelligence that comes forward. And you drop down into your heart, and there can be this world of tremendous love. And so this is what's possible. So if we're willing to work with what's within us, if we're willing to do our healing work and meet our bodies, our past, our humanity with love, then it's easy to step into and live in these heaven worlds. But if we do what most spiritual people do on the path, which is we try to get to heaven, and just skip over, our earth experience. Well, that normally backfires. You will get glimpses of heaven, but then you don't stabilize there. I can say on any given day, I may be just walking down the street and one of these centers will open up in a huger, more fuller way than I knew the day before. And I'll say, wow, what is this? This is the gift of the heart chakra. It's coming forward more fully. Colors are more vibrant. Things look more alive. There's this incredible depth of unity and love. It's quite amazing. This experience of our own self, of our own nature. If we open to it, if we actually do our healing work. And so, I want, this idea of balancing and this and that, most of that is just kind of spiritual tricks that we do, to get like a quick glimpse of some experience. But to truly stabilize in each of the centers, not only do you meditate upon them and just see if there's blockages and pain and confusion there, you meditate upon them and you find their beauty, you find their, what they can bring to you. Because they're a manifestation of your true nature. Like if you meditate deep in your belly, deep in your hara, it feels radically different than when you're meditating up here in the third eye chakra. It feels different than when you meditate upon the heart. And each of these 7 realms are like 7 realms of existence. And they're not like one permanent thing. As you open into them, they can grow in an infinite way, where you're opening to heaven world after heaven world within yourself. I mean, it's actually quite amazing what we are. It's quite amazing. It's such a gift, what we are. And to me, it's beautiful just to endlessly explore and to let go into what we truly are, not just see like this human body and our subtle body as some chore that we have to purify to get to, some special exalted state. But more, there's this gift that comes. The more you love yourself and open and heal and transform your own humanity, the more these realms just present themselves to us. And so it's very, like a very transformative experience. It's quite wonderful, quite amazing. And so, I'm a big fan of just opening into and investigating what we are, what we truly are.
That was awesome, Craig. Thank you.